Welcome, guys. We are in Parktown to visit Luyolo Mkentane, our resident political scribe, reporter, and writer. Luyolo works for some of the biggest publications in South Africa. He's been around. He's experienced. Luyolo, thank you so much, man, for allowing us to visit your very, very busy office.
Thank you so much, man. It's a Friday, and it's a busy Friday for me. But very much happy to be here to speak on some of the big political developments in the country.
Speaking of you being busy, man, what are some of the biggest political stories that you've been writing or focusing on reporting more about of late?
Well, locally, we've seen the former Joburg speaker, Colleen Makhubele,
Yes.
closing shop.
Yes, pass the shop there.
Well, if you want to call it.
Yeah, and deciding that, no, man, let me join a big supermarket chain.
She basically issued a statement yesterday saying that, hey, I'm resigning
From myself, from my own.
Curiously, the statement was addressed to national structures.
Yes.
Which everybody knows that she's.
They might be known such structures.
Person who presides over SARA, which is South African Labour Alliance, that she formed when she was put out of COPE. In fact, she formed it before she was fired from COPE. So what happened is that in November, COPE leader Mswede Kota called a press conference to say that we have fired this woman because she lied by saying that COPE has joined her organization. But at the time, it was sold as a coalition of smaller political parties and religious organizations. So it was more like a coalition, but later it turned to be a political party that was, for all intents and purposes, aimed at contesting the 2024 general elections. So she was removed as speaker, yes, of course, and then she went on now to campaign. She went on a full mode campaigning for SARA to be on the ballot.
Yes.
And
with her green posters.
Exactly. And she really did not perform well during the elections. I think she just got over 2,000 votes. And her move to Zuma's MK is not surprising at all if one has been watching her closely. Because, I remember at the Results Operations Center in Midrand, she was actually one among the first people to throw her weight behind MK to say that, hey, this is a formidable, MK is going to be a formidable opposition and all that. When it became clear that it had dislodged the ANC as the biggest party in KwaZulu-Natal, and it had secured so many seats at national level as well. So really, her resigning and joining Zuma's MK has led to some quarters or some believing that she's headed for parliament. As we've seen that former CEOs of parastatals, yes, such as Transnet,
Eskom, yes,
and Prasa like Montana, Mr. Gama, Transnet, and Eskom, Brad Molefe, they were sworn in as
recently, yes,
exactly, as MK MPs. So we know that there's 18 MPs that were removed.
Yes, who are still in court.
Exactly, who basically went to court to say that they want to be reinstated because the motivation for them to be removed is that they want to make space for these guys who were recently, sworn in, Papa Penny, Magama, Brad Molefe,
Lucky Montana, and others.
So there's still seats that needs to be filled, in the MK block. So some are suggesting that she might be one of the MPs that could be unveiled soon.
Yeah, man. It looks like the MK is attracting some big names of late.
Exactly, especially those that were seen to be Zuma loyalists during Zuma's presidency. Exactly. Yes. So talking about Lucky, Makama. These are some of the big names that were seen to be bending over backwards in terms of seeing to it that Zuma's whims and demands were accommodated, you know. And Floyd as well. I mean, we've
Yes.
seen him, one of the big names
Names,
to be
yes.
unveiled. He crossed over from the FF
To the MK,
to
yes.
MK, where he was unveiled as the national organizer
Nice,
and
yeah.
has been making accompanying
Waves, yes.
Zuma. Zuma was in court just recently at Pietermaritzburg court. Floyd was one of the leaders who had accompanied him there, and they addressed the crowds and everything that were behind Zuma 100% and all that. So, interesting developments ahead.
With these latest moves, do you think the MK might consolidate and be a very, very serious opposition in terms of GNU moving forward?
Well, some are arguing that the fact that now Zuma is bringing these big guns,
Yes.
that's how some media have described them, as the fact that he is consolidating his MK bloc to be a
Yes.
formidable opposition in parliament. Remember, MK now is the official opposition in parliament.
Yes.
So, I mean, these are guys who are well versed in terms of how these parastatals operate. I wouldn't be surprised if they really take, these ministers to task at these portfolio committees, because now one gets to appreciate that Molefe, for instance, knows the workings in and out of running ESCOM. So when he challenges the minister in terms of whatever issues that they'll be discussing, one would appreciate that this is a guy who knows what he's talking about.
Yes.
Trasa,
Lucky Montana.
Yes. Despite the toll train saga and his remarks on Dr. Mtimkul and everything, but people really appreciated them when they were at the helm of these organizations, because they felt that these were guys who were astute, who were knowledgeable, who knew what they were doing there, and all that. Exactly.
Moving forward, are we going to be seeing more and more, in your view, more and more people joining the MK party, and also what about the other smaller, what I would call black parties like UDM? What's probably the future for them, seeing what the MK is, what's happening at the MK in your views?
Well, interesting enough that you should ask that question, because there were by-elections that were held this week. I think more than 14, if I'm not mistaken, across the country, by the way.
Yes.
And Marikana, interesting, back in the Northwest, excuse me.
Yes.
Actually won an award from the ANC there.
Yes, the MK, yes.
So exactly. So that's one MK ward council outside KZN, so people are interpreting this to mean that MK is not only a regional party that is based in KZN,
yes,
but it is actually making inroads across the country as well. So my view is that I think MK, yes, in as much as it has one of the best representation in parliament in terms of numbers,
yes,
I'm not so sure whether that will actually lead to smaller political parties also folding and joining shop, just like this
SARA owner.
SARA did.
Yes.
I don't think so. I think they'll still stick their guns out and contest elections on their own.
Thank you so much, my brother, man. Wow, we learned a lot, man, from you. These are the issues that you work on daily. Thank you so much for the opportunity to have a chat.
Thanks, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you.